Hello again, this is Moreland, and we are now at the third and final part of the 2018 trading guide for Black Desert. In case you missed them, here are the links to part 1, in which we talk about what trading is and how it works, and part 2, in which we talk about whether or not trading is worth it for your particular situation. In this video, we will talk about leveling trading, moving crates, and turning in crates with maximum efficiency. As always, check the description below for relevant links and a timestamped table of contents. Let's begin by going over how to level trading up. There are two methods that you heard me mention earlier. One of them is the active trading method, which is going to be about 15 to 20 hours of in-game playtime, going back to different trade NPCs and just manually buying and selling goods. I won't be going over those methods here, but you could type in rolling or the container method into the search bar on Google or YouTube, and you should be able to find some pretty decent guides on doing that. The plus side of using the active method is that you get your trading out of the way pretty quickly. You know, you can mash that out in a single weekend if you really wanted to get it all out of the way. However, there's not really much of a reason to be in a hurry to level trading unless you're maybe doing fishing. If you're fishing every day, then you want to get that bonus as soon as you can, so you might look into actively leveling trading. But if you're just doing this because of pirate coins or crates, it's going to take you a while to stockpile your coins and crates anyways, so you might as well do the second method, which is slower but doesn't require that much of your in-game time, and that is the junk crate method. So junk crates refers to these crates that we can make at the various different workbenches. We're going to be looking at the low level crates here, so things like copper and lead tend to be good examples of this. And basically you're going to be making about 25, 26, 27,000 of these depending on your buffs, and you're going to be moving them all the way from the city of origin to Arehaza. And even though normally we would move our trade goods to Valencia for the most money, in this case for leveling trading we don't want to use Valencia, we want to use Arehaza. We won't be able to use the desert bonus, but if you don't have Artisan 2 trading, you don't have access to the desert bonus anyways, so you might as well just move your crates all the way out to Arehaza while you're leveling up. Now it's important that you only turn in junk crates to Arehaza. Do not turn in your actual plywood or ingot crates in Arehaza. You will lose a huge amount of money. But for junk crates that you're making just for the purpose of leveling up, again, those would be like copper and lead crates, you want to take those all the way out to Arehaza to get the maximum distance possible, so that you have to make fewer crates. Now there are a few different cities that are candidates for this. Grana obviously has the most distance. Calfian has the cheapest workbenches. I think Trent is a good middle ground between those things. You have some good workbenches at Trent that don't cost too much, and you also have a worker named Brevant that you can get in Trent. And Brevant you can find in game at this little shack kind of on the northern part of Trent above the river. There's a goblin right here that you can play an amity game with, and he comes out of the gate with a +2 ore packing skill, which means he will make 1 + 2 for a total of 3 crates every time you put him on a mineral workbench. So that has the benefit of making the crates faster, but it also has the benefit of making the crates cost less beer. And in order to figure out what materials are best to use in order to make junk crates, I have another spreadsheet, and this is all part of the same resource that I mentioned earlier that's going to be linked in the description. This stuff at the top here is more for advanced users. Don't worry about editing this unless you really want to. Trade level 32 is kind of the midway point between 0 and 42, which is Artisan 2. This is the distance from Trent to Arehaza, which most of you should be using. This is the Artisan 2 bonus, but since we don't have Artisan 2 yet, this is probably 0 for you guys. Beer, 13.14, this is just the standard beer price on NA. And then Blackstone Powder, this is set to how much you're paying if you are grinding max price weapon stones. If you have a cheaper way of acquiring Blackstone Powder, you can plug that in. But it kind of doesn't matter because, you know, relatively speaking, you're still going to be able to compare these crates to each other. It's not going to change much based on what you do up here. So don't focus too much on this. Instead, focus on the actual individual prices of the junk crates down here. The ones I mentioned earlier, copper and lead, are really good candidates for this. Not only are they cheap, you can see the cost for making each one of these is only about 4,000 to 5,000 silver, which is low compared to other crates that you might be making. No matter what type of junk crate you make, you are going to lose money, which is why we call this about 150 million silver investment. but there are some crates that will lose less money than others. And you'll also see there's a column here for crafts per beer. So you should edit the market price based on your region in your market to make sure that this is up to date. It shouldn't take you too long, more than a few minutes to just open that up and update these. But you should also update crafts per beer based on what ore packing or wood packing or whatever special skills your worker might have. So the reason why this is set to 6 automatically for minerals is because normally workers can make 2 crates per beer, 1 crate per action, and then each beer is 2 actions. So normally it's set to 2. But for the mineral workbench, if you do this out of Trent, there's no reason why you shouldn't use Brevant, and in that case, you will get 6 crafts per beer, which will save you a little bit of money and also speed up the process. For the other workbenches, if you have a guy that has +1 wood crate making, then you can set this to 4. If he's got +3 wood making, then you can set this to 8. And basically, the best crates for the mineral workbench, we already said, are going to be copper and lead. Sometimes iron is good. It just depends on the market. Tin can sometimes look good, but you should never use tin for your junk crates because it's way too valuable and rare of a material when it comes to actually processing for profit. It's too important for your bronze. I guess if you're just not processing at all, then you could do this, but if you're not processing at all, you shouldn't really be leveling trading to begin with. So it's kind of up to you, but I would really recommend against using tin or zinc under any circumstances, even if the price looks good. And then obviously vanadium and titanium are usually way too expensive. For the wood workbenches, again, all these materials at the top here can be used for plywood crates. So most of these are pretty important for processing. If you have a huge excess of something like ash or birch, you could argue that you might want to turn those into junk crates. You want to make sure whatever material you choose for this, you can get at least 70,000 of. So that's either something you have a large stockpile of materials in the bank, or you're able to buy 70,000 of the material off the market. You don't have to buy all 70,000 at once, but you might need to buy like 10 or 20,000 here and then another 10 or 20,000 a few days later. So you want to buy stuff that's pretty easy to get on the market. The reason why I set 70,000 as a benchmark is because 70,000 materials equals 7,000 crates, and 7,000 crates is usually the amount that you will be stacking on a horse when it comes time to move the crates all the way out to Valencia or Arehaza. So like I said, I would probably avoid using most of these timbers up here, but palm and elder are both pretty decent. Not only are they low cost, they also weigh less. So you could actually, instead of stacking 7,000 crates on a horse with palm and elder, you can do about 10,000. So it's a little bit easier to move. You can make a bigger stack, and that saves you some time when it comes to moving your overpacked horse all the way across the whole world. For the mushroom factory, there is again a plus mushroom packing skill. So if you have that, you can set this to 2, or rather you can set this to 4 or 8 appropriately if you have that worker. There's a couple mushroom crates that weigh less than the other ones, the Fortune Teller and the Emperor, so you'd be able to stack these up to about 14,000 on a single horse, which is really nice. So take a look at these two. If you can get a sizable amount of these off the market, those are good candidates. But there's also good candidates in here that are just low cost, even though they don't have the weight. The Cloud Mushroom's not too bad, the Ghost Mushroom's not too bad. So based on the market price in your region, you can see what kind of costs you're looking at here. And obviously lower cost is what you're aiming for. The final factory here that you can use is the crop factory. These first 3 skills, you use the herb packing worker skill, and the next 3 are the produce packing worker skills. So those are the appropriate skills if you want to update your crafts per beer. Almost all of these have half the weight of other crates, and they also tend to be much lower in cost. So all around, the crop factory looks really good for making junk crates. The downside to the crop factory is there aren't any in Trent. So if you're going to do this, you either have to send a Trent worker all the way up to Calfian, or you have to pay the increased cost of making it in Grana, which is actually not too bad. I think the crop workshop in Grana is only 5 CP, so you might just make these out of Grana instead, since you can't make them out of Trent. It wouldn't be too much more expensive. And if you're trying to figure out how much you're paying for Blackstone powder, I have a little chart down here as well. So if you're grinding armor stones, this you can edit the market prices here. This is how much you're paying. Weapon stones, which are usually easier to get, so those are the defaults price that we use up here. You can also grind orange or yellow crystals off the market. I mean, theoretically, you could grind green or blue ones, but I think that would take too long. So these are usually, and more realistically, these three in particular, are usually the ones you want to look at. Armor stones are almost never worthwhile, but sometimes during a Blackstone event, the price of this might dip low enough that grinding armor stones for the sake of your crates might make sense. Okay, so these should be all the resources that you need to figure out which junk crates to make. Let's talk about how you actually move those crates from your city of origin over to Arehaza. So I'm going to show you guys what we call the infinite stacking trick. And a little forewarning before we get into this. This is allowed but not supported by the GMs, which means you're not going to get in trouble for doing this. However, if something happens and your horse dies, even if it's a bug, even if your horse like falls through the world and dies, the GMs will not help you. So if your horse dies, you're going to lose all your crates, and there's no way you can submit a ticket or anything like that to get your crates back. So there's an inherent risk that goes along with this, and try not to judge my inventory too much. Usually it's on auto sort. Basically what you want to do is you want to put the top left corner of your inventory over here. You've got your mount inventory right here. You've got your storage inventory over here, and there might be a slightly better way to set this up, but the basic idea is you want to get as much max weight as you can. So I should probably put some stuff away, but in this case, since we're just doing an example, I'm not going to bother. And then you move as much crates as you can over to your inventory. In this example, I'm going to try 77. Okay, so I can fit 77. Once I move it over from the bank to my inventory, I move it from the inventory up to the horse. You want to use the mouse drag for this. If you use right click, then what's going to happen is you're going to put something in your inventory, and then when you go to move it in your mouse, or when you go to move it from your into your mount rather, you're going to accidentally click storage, and you're going to move your whole stack of crates back into your storage. So I recommend you just drag it with your mouse instead. You just drag it from your mounts back down to the storage, or rather back down to your inventory. Don't listen to what I'm saying, just look at what I'm doing, and you can kind of get the hang of this. Okay, so a few more times from storage into inventory. You then merge the stack from your mounts, and then you can move it back up to your mount, and you can do this all the way up to 7,157 crates. If you have one of the lighter crates that only weighs 20, then you can do about 10,000 of these, and if you have a crate that weighs 15, then you can do about 14,000 of these. But this is all you got to do. You just go back and forth, and you might be able to do 88, you might be able to do 99. Just depends on how much max weight you have, and you just keep following this pattern. Storage into inventory, combine the stacks, move the stack back up onto your horse. Now, once you have your full stack loaded onto your horse, there's a couple ways you can move him. You can obviously just ride him. If you are going to ride him, I recommend you do it on a pretty fast horse, and I recommend you get some armor. There are bandits that will spawn along the roads, so you can semi-AFK autopath this all the way out to about Sangrain. Do not autopath all the way to Valencia. You will get stuck and die over on bandits, so absolutely don't do that. But you can autopath over to Sangrain, and you can do that mostly AFK as long as you're kind of paying attention. I wouldn't do it fully AFK because there is still a risk that bandits will spawn on top of you on the road. Usually your horse will just run right by the bandits and it's not a big deal, but every once in a while, if they spawn in a bad place, you can get stuck on the bandits and die as well. So just keep at least somewhat of an eye on your guy as he moves out to Sangrain Bazaar. And make sure that you are doing this on a character that is under level 50 so that you do not get PK'd while you are out there. There's some people, when they see horses that are overstacked, will get a little bloodthirsty and decide that they want to grief you and kill your horse, and destroy all your crates just because, that's how they live their life. So you can move your horse just like this out to Sangrain. I probably wouldn't do it on this guy though. I'd probably do it on a character who's under level 50 so you don't get attacked by their players. The other way to do it, if you want to do it a little bit faster, you can get on a Musa or a Meiwa, just some character that can dash really quickly, and you can dash ahead, whistle your horse, dash ahead some more, whistle your horse, and that's a little bit faster than riding the horse while he's overweight. So either of those two methods one way or the other. Get your crates all the way out to Sangrein Bazaar, and then once you're out at Sangrein Bazaar, just pay attention as you cross the desert, because there are random portals that will spawn out here, and if you accidentally step into those portals, it will kill your horse and destroy all your crates. So don't do that, and just make sure as you're auto-pathing that you're paying enough attention so you don't step into a portal. Once you get out here, there's a stable keeper right next to the first trade manager in Valencia. So if you're doing money crates, you can store your horses here. Do not remote collect your horse into the stables. That will also destroy your materials. You just do a regular check-in and you can put your horse in the stable. Usually you want to put at least 3 horses fully loaded up in the stable so that you can turn all 3 at once with all your buffs on. Remember, if you're still leveling trading, then you don't want to do Valencia. You want to go up to Arehaza, and same thing. There should be a stables out at Arehaza somewhere over here that you can stash your horses in as well, and then you can just take the horses out once you pop all your buffs and go turn in your materials to the trade vendor while you have your buffs running. The last thing we need to talk about is how to properly turn in your crates. So by this point, I've moved 3 horses with crates over to the Valencia stable keeper on a character who is under level 50. That way he doesn't get attacked by other players on the road. However, when you actually level your trading up, you need to do it on a character who's over 55. The Artisan 2 quest to get the buff has a level 55 prerequisite. So even if you're moving your crates out here on a level 49 character, make sure that your main or your life skiller or whatever character you're using for this is at least 55 or higher so that you can benefit from the Artisan 2 bonus. Now I've deposited my horses in the Valencia stables here. If you are still leveling trading up and you're below Artisan 2, you don't use Valencia City. Instead, you go over here and you use Arehaza Town. You put them in the stables over here instead. The first thing you do when turning in crates, if you're over Artisan 2 and you're here for profit, is you go down to Pilgrim Sanctum Sharing. You spend 100 energy to get the sharing buff, and it lasts 1 hour. So plan accordingly. Make sure you have enough energy to get this. You also are going to need energy to bargain with the NPC, and that's true whether you're out here for money or if you're out here for experience. So either way, make sure you have 100 or maybe even 200 extra energy lying around just so you can bargain with the NPC. So we're going to go ahead and grab the horse out of the stables now and walk him right over to the trade manager. I'm going to assume that if you have access to the sharing buff, we've already gone out and got it by now. So we should see like a little gold bag down here. The other thing that we should see down here is a long list of life skill buffs. So we want to make sure that we pop those before we do the turn in as well. So let's go over those real quick. 155 is kind of like the high-end goal that you can set for yourself for doing trade XP. 110 is going to be the absolute minimum, and I'll talk about what here you can skip and what you shouldn't skip. For the food, the fresh whale meat salad, this is the blue version. If you absolutely can't get the blue version, at least try to get the green version, and that'll be 10%. Elixir of Flowing Time is easy enough to get, that's 15%. Perfume of Swiftness, you should really try to pre-order this. 20% is a big bonus to pass up, so even if there's none on the market, try to pre-order it, or try to keep an eye out on the attendance calendar and see if any of these are coming up, because if so, you'll get some for free, and you'll also be able to buy some off the market that other people are posting much more easily than normal. For GM's Blessing, these are given out during like server outages and stuff like that. If you have GM Blessing 3, that's 15%. If not, you should try to use at least a GM Blessing 1, that'll give you 10%. The Loyalty Scroll you can just get off the Loyalty Shop. Turning Gates Villa buff, there's a Turning Gates Villa here in Valencia City. Right over here, so you can just come over here and buy an invitation and grab that buff as well if you don't already have a Turning Gates Villa for other reasons. Next one is the Silver Embroidered Trader's Outfits. 20% is based on a +3. If you're just leveling trading to Artisan 2, then you don't really need a +3. +3 is for more advanced users who plan on pushing like deep into the master levels. So we'll just put 15% as if you had a +2. You should at least have a +2 when you're getting to Artisan 2. Getting a +2 trader's outfit is not very difficult. This one right here, the Professional Trader's Clothes, is only available after you hit Professional 5 trading. So we'll set this to 0 for now. Once you hit Professional 5 trading, if you want a little bit more of a bonus, you can buy this. The way this works is you get the equipment tailoring coupon off the cash shop for $15. then you buy the professional trader's clothes from a luxury vendor. One of the luxury vendors is located in Heidel, near the Markets Keeper on the main north-south road. So you buy the professional trader's clothes, you use the equipment, tailor, and coupon, and that will transform this from an armor piece into a costume piece. That means you can wear the silver embroidered outfit in the armor slot, and you can wear the professional trader's outfit in the costume slot, and then they will both overlap, and you can get the bonuses from both. Next thing is pets. Just use what you have here. It is not worth it to buy pets just for Lifeskill XP. If you're trying to pay to win, there's other better ways to do it. So you could set this to 0 if you don't have anything, but most people will probably have at least some pets that apply here. Anything that's like a cat or a rabbit or a hedgehog has inherent Lifeskill XP built into it, so make sure you have those out. And then any of your pets of any type may have gotten lucky and rolled +3 trading as one of their skills. So if you have any of those pets, then obviously make sure that they are out when you are doing this turn in. But this is kind of like the bare minimum of what you can expect, 110. You should try to get higher if you can. If you're under 110, then you're missing something important and you need to reevaluate and try to get a hold of whatever you don't have. We've got some data here based on turn-ins at 120 and 130. And let's go ahead and look at these because there's another important, very important piece of information we need to go over here. And that is the number of crates that you turn in at a time. So you can see here on Zin's data that he starts off by only turning in 100 crates, then he kind of goes up to 150, then 250, and as his skill gets up, he turns in more and more crates. The reason why you do this is you are penalized on your crate XP when your skill is lower. That means the most efficient way to do this in theory would be to turn in enough crates so that you hit 0% at your next level, and then turn in crates again. And let me show you what I mean by turn them in again. So we're talking to the trade manager here, and instead of clicking this sell all button, here, let's go ahead and try to bargain real quick. So we definitely want to bargain first. And I don't want to click sell all after I bargain. I don't want to click sell all here. Instead, what I want to do is I click this sell button, and I only sell like 100 at a time, and then I sell 100 again, and then I'll sell 150, and I'm just going to keep hitting enter and doing that over and over again. Now, you can kind of use Zin's data here as a guideline for how many you can turn in and when you should increase that. Remember, if you back out of this completely to check your skill, then you're going to have to bargain all over again, and that's going to cost more energy. But if you stay in this window and you just keep selling them 100 or 200 at a time, then you don't have to rebargain, and you can just keep going. Now, theoretically, you could just keep selling them in stacks of 100 all the way up to Artisan 2. The problem is that's going to take a really long time, and if you have a Perfume of Swiftness running, you've only got 20 minutes to make the most out of that, so you want to make sure that you're turning in all 3 horses worth of crates before your buffs wear out. And that means that even though we're starting off turning in only 100 or 150 on those lower levels, you do want to eventually increase your turn-ins so that you can get your crates out faster. And basically just listen for level ups in the background. The most important thing here is that you don't turn in more than 1 level's worth of crates at a time. So it doesn't have to be perfect, and you know, you're going to miss out on a little bit of XP no matter what, but as long as you're just turning in crates that are somewhere in the ballpark of similarity to what Zin turned in here, then you should be fine, and you should be able to get all the way to Artisan 2 in something like 26 to 28k crates, depending on how many buffs you have running. So start off slow, work your way up, listen for those level ups in the background, check on your trade skill in between horses, but remember, you probably shouldn't back out of the trade window to check it in the middle of a turn-in, because if you do that, you'll have to rebargain all over again. Alright, well, congratulations on making it this far. I just have 1 more minute of closing comments to make before the video ends. This was probably the toughest guide I've had to make for this game so far, so if you found it useful, then consider clicking that subscribe button. Future videos will probably not be this complicated, but I think you'll still find them to be very useful. Also, consider joining our community Discord, which I'll link to in the description. It's full of both new and old players in there, and we even have a channel that's specifically dedicated towards new player questions, so that's a good place to hang out if you want to learn about the game. There's plenty of other channels to hang out in as well if you just want to chat with people who have similar interests. I'm also offering one-on-one coaching through Discord, so if you'd like to support me and get some personalized help at the same time, then we can set up some one-on-one coaching regarding this topic or any other topic that you've seen me make videos on in the past. And if you want to support this channel for free, then don't forget you can subscribe to a Twitch channel once a month for no additional cost if you already have Amazon Prime. So just head over to my Twitch channel, which is the same name that it is on here, Moreland TV, and you can use that Amazon Prime membership to subscribe for free if you want to show me some love. Finally, follow me at Moreland TV on Twitter so that I can receive a little dopamine boost when I see the notification. And other than that, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you again very soon.